At this time, I'd like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the South Union Township Board of Supervisors. Please rise for a silent prayer followed by a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the roll call, Mr. Schiffbauer. Here. Mr. Vernon.
Here.
Mr. Scott here. Number 5, the Roadmaster's Report. Mr. Vernon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The month of February, report goes as follows. We held compost 7 days during the month of February. We went out and plowed 6 days. We also had to come back and clean our plow trucks. So we picked up litter on Daniel Drive, Duck Hollow, Cinder, Township Drive, Work Parkway, and Matthew Drive. Picked up loose curb throughout the township that was knocked out by our plow. We patched numerous streets throughout the township. We cleaned off our drains after the last couple storms. We picked up tree branches throughout the township, and we had to cut up a couple trees that were blocking the road throughout the township. We replaced stop signs at Hookton and Woodlawn, and also on Dawson and Wilmac. And we replaced a large sign on Matthew Drive that was knocked over by the wind. It was a PennDOT sign, but it was our responsibility to put it back in place. And we worked on the new building a couple of days. Also, we worked on the sheepskin trail, keeping it clean. And Mr. Scott's son plowed it for us a few times. We thank him, Carson Scott, for doing that for us. That concludes my report.
I paid him.
You paid him?
About donation.
He gave a donation. And also paid a donation by Mr. Schiffbauer to Mr. Carson Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Schiffbauer?
I have nothing.
Moving on. Number 6, the Sewage Department Report. During the month of February, we did replace pump number 3. It was out for repair on warranty work. It's back in operation, so all 3 pumps in Route 21 pump station are now up and pumping. During February is when we do our yearly discounts for the program. There was 1,107 customers that took part in the yearly discount so far. We are extending that through March. If you'd like to take advantage to pay your sewage for the entire year, it's $232, which includes the $12 recycling fee, and what the discount is 1 month, which is $20 we give if you pay it a year in advance. So, plus you don't have to come down or get online to pay your bill every month. The city has started replacing a line on Country Club Boulevard. It's a shared line with South Union Township and the city of Uniontown. That construction is going to take approximately a month, I would say, to complete. So that road, a portion of that road will be closed at times during that construction. Try to avoid it if possible. We are also putting out for bid the Redstone Furnace and Brownfield Lane project that we got a grant for last year. We received $285,000 grant for that project, and we should have that out for bid probably mid-April, I would say. So that will be starting at the bridge at the intersection of Redstone Furnace and Brownfield Lane, and continue down here behind the township toward the Uniontown Country Club. In other matters, we also have at the end of March, it's called Market Days by the Trail. If you're not familiar with it, you can get on Facebook, or you can stop down here. We have applications if you'd like to be a vendor. But it's just a market days. We're going to have it at the former Cluss building that we purchased for our indoor rec facility. The process for grants is going to take approximately 9 to 10 months. So we were looking for things to do in that building, while the time passes. So the staff in the office came up with the Market Days by the Trail. It'll be March 29th and 30th, and that's at 333 Pennsylvania Avenue, and it is the former Cluss Lumber building that we purchased. But we have vendors of all sorts. We'll have food vendors there. There's a lady, just a couple off the top of my head, there's a lady that makes quilts and sells them. There's a couple that do wooden projects for your yard. There's actually going to be some people there with like homemade butter and eggs, so it should be a really nice event. But once again, that's March 29th and 30th, and you can go on southduniontownship.com or our Facebook page for more information. One other thing that we have, I think you added it to the agenda too, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah.
The survey, okay.
Mhm.
We'll talk about that later. But we also had, while I'm talking, we put out a newsletter, just some information that's going on. We have a lot of things going on right now with grants. The flooding we had in the past year, we have some articles in there about the flooding we had. It's a good read. We put it out, I think we skipped last year. We didn't get one out last year, but we've done them mostly every year since I've been here. And it takes a lot of work to put one of these together. And we have a lot of good stories. There's a good story in there by Jack Hughes from Chalk Hill about the weather. Mr. Schiffbauer wrote a couple articles about the Sheepskin Trail. We have a couple articles about the duties of township supervisor. So it's definitely a good read, something that you'd want to get a hold of. And if you did not receive one, we have them down here at the township. We have extra, so feel free to stop in and we'll give you one. Or if you can't make it down, give us a call and we can even send one over to you. That concludes my sewage plus my other report that I was talking about. Do you have anything to add?
Well, in regards to the newsletter, I know this supervisor, just want to say, I certainly don't agree with Mr. Hughes's opinion or his position on the so-called climate change, but that's between him and I guess.
Bob disagrees, but you know, hey, that's why we all have our own opinions, I guess. That concludes my sewage report. Do you have anything else, Mr. Vernon?
I'd just like to mention that newsletter went out hit yesterday and supposed to hit today, so give us a couple more days. If not, give us a call Monday or stop over Monday, pick one up.
And in the past, when we've done these newsletters, we try to get one out sometime during the winter season and the fall season. We don't do them every year, but we just feel, you know, when the occasion arises, it's time for us to do one. It's been 2 years now. And it is a great way of keeping our residents informed as to what's taking place in a township. Not everybody's able to make a meeting, but this is a great vehicle to let the people know what's going on in their township and the kind of job that the township supervisors are doing.
There's also, it's on the website also, if you wanted to print it off the website, it is on there. That concludes my sewage report. Mr. Vernon, the code enforcement officer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the month of February, like we mention every month, we have one full-time officer working on Monday through Fridays from 7 to 3:30, and also we have a part-time officer working about approximately 25 hours during the day. Then in the evenings and on weekends, we have 3 part-time officers working throughout the township, covering all the evenings and also weekends. Letters sent out for property repairs, we had 1 this month. Junk vehicles, we had 3. Burning complaints, we had 1. Again, you can only burn in South Union Township on Saturdays from 8 to 5. Must be a controlled blaze, which means you have someone has to be watching at all times. We had 2 quad complaints, and delinquent garbage account, we had 32 that were sent out with 9 paid with pending of 23, which on garbage complaints, if you go up to $100 owing to advanced disposal, we have to send out a letter to you, giving you a chance to take care of the problem. If not, then we have to write a citation under our contract with advanced disposal. Because if they pick up the garbage, either you pay it or not, garbage is supposed to be picked up every week. Parking complaints, we had 2, and citations issued for that month of February, we had 55 citations issued. Handicap parking tickets given out by our township code officers was 51. Fire lane violations were 17. And total miles traveled throughout the township was 1,575 miles by our full-time officer and our part-time daytime officer. In the evenings and on weekends, they traveled 1,907 miles for a total of 3,482 miles. Also like to mention, we heard that a call today came in that over in Cross Creek, a lot of cars were not broken into, open, doors were unlocked. They went into cars and ransacked them. So please keep your cars locked at all times. They're going through all our neighborhoods at this time. That should conclude my report for the month of February.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Schiffbauer?
I have nothing further.
Thank you. Number 8, motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
We have a motion by Mr. Schiffbauer. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Schiffbauer's motion.
Motion and proper second on the roll call. Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries. Number 9, comments on agenda items. Do we have any comments on the agenda items? Number 10, recreation survey discussion. I'll let Bob go first and then I'll chime in.
Okay, as people know, that we recently purchased the old warehouse building that O.C. Kless owned just off of Pennsylvania Avenue, but within the boundaries of South Union Township. And we're looking to try to seek some funding to upgrade, and well, not upgrade, but rehabilitate the building and possibly convert it into a multi-purpose sports complex. And there are several avenues of approach that we are taking in regards to trying to seek funds. There are 2 agencies that we're looking at where we're going to be applying funds. One's through DCNR and the other's through DCED. The first one that I mentioned is through DCNR, and we've not yet determined all the particulars in which we're basing our grant application on. But one thing that is important in light of the fact that the township has not done a feasibility study for the construction of this project that I just mentioned. So, and usually a feasibility study involved is quite extensive, and it builds up to the point where you're trying to prove that there's a need for whatever activity you're going to be trying to accomplish within the municipality. But another way to try to satisfy and substantiate the need for doing a project like we're thinking about is seeking the public input. And there are a number of ways in which the township is going to be trying to accomplish that. One of the main factors, or main things that we're doing, is circulating and making available a survey, a needs recreation survey for township recreation needs. And right now, we have that surveys complete. It's available for people to fill out and participate with. And not only is it open, and we are inviting our residents to participate in completing the survey, anybody, even beyond the boundaries of South Union Township, they're encouraged to fill out and participate with the survey as well. But this survey focuses in on what the township is looking at and getting that input from the public as to what they feel. They also have an opportunity to make suggestions to the township, and we certainly take that important information into consideration when we are making final plans as to what we were actually going to be doing. In addition to the survey, we are planning in the future within the next several weeks to have a public meeting where people can come attend a meeting here some evening. It certainly will be advertised and announced to the public. And there again, we want the people to come in and express their opinion, give any recommendations or suggestions in regards to the development of our recreation program. We are thinking about doing a program on our cable TV network. So I think that once the application is submitted and it's accompanied with all the information that we're able to compile regarding the survey and the various means of public input, it will actually strengthen our application and hopefully gain approval. It's very important that we were able to seek and gain funding from the state for our recreation program. It's always been important, but specifically to this project here and trying to improve and accomplish the task of converting the building we recently purchased. That grant money is essential that we're able to acquire. Mr. Scott, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, just a couple things. I mean, I know just being in the public eye and being over at the rec center, a lot of people don't understand that grant money is specific to a certain criteria. People say, you know, we'll get questions of why you didn't pave my road with that money. That money's not available to pave your road. That money is out for grant. That grant is for recreation. That's like the sheepskin trail. There was, at the time, there was tons of money in sheepskin trail grants when we, you know, applied for that grant money. And that grant money doesn't, if we don't apply for it and we don't go after it, then it doesn't come into our community. It goes to Lancaster or Harrisburg or, you know, up north. It doesn't come to our community. So it's very important that people understand that if we don't go after this grant money that's earmarked for certain things, that the money's going to go elsewhere. So you have to feel fortunate no matter what grant you get that we apply for. You know, it might not be a project that's on the top of our list, which this one is, but just in other references on grants, we have grants now, right now, I would say we probably have close to $1 million in grants out that we're trying to seek right now at all times. I mean, we might only end up getting $200,000 in the grants, but back to the survey, it's not specific just to this, you know, this project. There's 15 questions on the survey. A lot of them, you know, have to do with the facilities that we have now. With, you know, whether you're happy with them. Do you think we have enough? Do we need more? So it's a good survey, and there's not a ton of questions. There's no personal questions. They don't ask your name, so feel free to please. You can go on the website. I sent over, I think, 2,700 emails out to all our sewage account holders. I also contacted the two boards that I'm on, the Fayette County Soccer and the Hark Baseball, and sent it out to all those. So by the time, I think it went up Friday, Dana had it up, and by Friday night, I think I had 7 emails on my phone from different organizations that I'm involved in that had the survey. So we're getting a really good turnout. And also, if you don't have access to a computer, feel free to come down here. We'll let you use one of our computers to take the survey if you can, you know, if you don't have access to it. Or we have paper copies that you can actually just do it, and we'll enter the information in anonymously through our computer. But like I said, please try to take the time to do the grant. It takes about 6 minutes to do it, to do the survey. It's not a long survey, and it will definitely help us out. But thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. You know, we've always had a pretty active and aggressive recreation program over the years. But one thing I want to give Jason credit to, he brought some new young blood into our recreation program, especially with the indoor soccer league, where he come up with the idea of putting the artificial turf on the basketball floor where we conduct our indoor soccer season. And that has proven to be a big, huge success. And I think attracting more kids into our program, which further necessitates the consideration to expand our facilities like we're thinking about doing right now. And it certainly does show that there's a need there. We're just taking this one step further with the survey and trying to offer our residents and the people in the area some new or nicer recreation facilities, and that is certainly our intent and goal that we're going to try to accomplish. But we'll keep you posted, the public posted as to the grants, how they progress, and also we will be able to provide more details as to exactly what we might be doing as far as the new sports complex building. It's a little bit premature right now. We're still in the early consideration, putting plans together, but we're, I think, headed in the right direction, and hopefully when we're done with this project, we'll have something really nice and proud to have here in South Union Township.
Thank you. Nothing further. Number 11, we have a motion to advertise for 14,000 gallons of gasoline and 9,000 gallons of diesel fuel.
I'll move on that, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Yes. Motion carries. Number 12 is to pass a resolution To approve the sewer planning module for Forest Park subdivision retroactive to February 6, 2019. Mr. Rover, would you touch on that for us?
Yes, there's the developer in the township that acquired some property at the Forest Park area. They have plans, their plans have been modified, but the plan is to construct 10 single-family homes in the Forest Park area. And this planning module is a requirement through the Pennsylvania DEP to provide sewage to those 10 single-family homes.
Okay. Also, I'd like to add that in the plan that Mr. Over drew up, there have been issues with the sewage in that area in the past. I mean, we haven't had any recently, but this project is going to improve that because we're actually going to take some sewage from the Mulberry Street and run it through this new line, which will alleviate some flow on the Walnut Avenue line. So it's going to help us also, and the developer's paying to put the sewer line in. So I think it's a plus for everybody, and there won't be any impact on the downflow side. We don't have any problems to where we're tying in. And so the extra 10 homes on this line isn't going to impact anyone downstream. We've made sure of that. If no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the motion.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a proper second. Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Yes. Motion carries. Number 13 is to announce the Fayette County Hard to Recycle event, April 27th at the Fayette County Fairgrounds. The county puts this off every year since I've been around. It's a nice event. They have a lot of stuff that's accepted here. This is the one that they do charge for some of the items. I think that it's $2 per item for any large appliance. Tires, passenger or light truck that are off the rim, they're $2. It's $3 if they're on the rim. Any scrap metal, any computer towers, monitors, laptops, computer accessories and printers. Television, you're only allowed 2 per car. I know the first one that they had a lot of problems because people were bringing truckloads of TVs in. So they had problems with that. But that's April 27th. We got an email from the county. I guess they have a truck that's half full of TVs, and they'd like to fill it up before this event. So if any resident of South Union Township has a TV that they need to get rid of, you're welcome to bring it down here to the township between 7 and 3:30, Monday through Friday, and we will take it out and put it in the trailer at the county. So that's for any resident in South Union Township between 7 and 3:30, Monday through Friday. You can bring any TV down to the township building. Also, a copy of the Hard to Recycle event is on the website and on Facebook, and I believe it mentions it in the newsletter also. But there's going to be 5 of these events between now and September, so every month we'll be announcing where it's at. But the first one is April 27th, Fayette County Fairgrounds. If you have any questions, you can call Sheila Shea down at the county, and her number is 724-430-1200, extension 1505. And her information is also on our South Union Township website. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Brown?
No, you covered it very well.
Number 14, comments from the public. Any comments? Go ahead, Bernie.
That's a question.
Yep, no problem.
Vernon Quirk, and I didn't make it to last month's meeting, so maybe you already covered this. Any update on the Sheepskin Trail going through Uniontown? I noticed they've taken some of the tracks out behind Bailey Park, and they've paved over the crossing on Dunbar Street. Does Uniontown have any time frame when they might?
Matter of fact, there's a meeting next week with Donna Holdorf in regards to Sheepskin Trail. I think as far as what's going on in the city, I don't know if they're doing some type of feasibility study. I think part of the part of the situation, they're trying to figure out where the trail would go. It's not simply where they can just follow the railroad tracks like we basically did in most trails in other areas or out in the country. But some of the railroad follows the path right down the middle of Beeson and you certainly can't put the trail right in the middle of the road. So I know they're trying to determine, Donna Holdorf from the Heritage Corridor Road project, she's helping out, I believe, in trying to come up with some type of workable plan. And I know there's going to have to be a considerable amount of negotiation with Southwest Railroad, because part of the trail will almost have to be used using the property that's owned by Southwest. They've abandoned that line, which really could speed the acquisition of the property up. But until they agree as to, what they're going to do with the old line, what portion they might need for the trail, it's just kind of up for consideration right now. But they are moving, and John, I don't know if you had some input with the city.
There's been some very preliminary discussion relative to several routes through the city, but as Mr. Schiffbauer indicated, Southwest Railroad is going to be an integral part of that, from South Union Township line to either Dunbar or Fayette Street, depending on how the trail goes, and then on the Beeson Avenue side of the city towards North Union Township, the railroad's going to be essentially involved in that portion also. The portion between Fayette and Beeson is probably going to end up being on some public roadways, some city roadways throughout that area, and that brings in a completely different set of problems associated with bicycle traffic with vehicular traffic and the mix of those two on city roads. So they're in the very preliminary stages, and they've got a ways to go, but with the help of Mr. Schiffbauer and the Sheepskin Trail group, it's moving forward, but probably not at a rate that anybody that uses the trail would like it to move forward. So.
Yeah, and to clarify, the removal of the old rails and the ties, especially the portion that was removed behind Bailey Park and the ball field there, that was actually done by mistake. Southwest Railroad promised us last year that they would remove the rails and the ties on our side of Pennsylvania Avenue, the South Union portion. That's basically the dividing line between the city and South Union. And I called them early in the spring to remind Southwest of their promise, and they finally got around to it, and they said that they'd take care of it. And I did notice, like a lot of other people, that the rails and ties are being removed behind the Bailey Park area that's in the city. So I had to call Southwest and tell them that it seemed like there might be a little mix-up, because the rails are supposed to be removed on South Union Township side of Pennsylvania Avenue. They were still there, but the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue, the rails and ties are removed, and the vice president was a little perplexed about that, and he said, well, we're going to have to check into it. And I did get a phone call back, and actually after they sent one of their engineers out, and they admitted that there's some kind of mix-up on their part. They removed the wrong rails and ties on the opposite side of Pennsylvania Avenue. But they did a week or two later remove the ones on our side. So that was a step in the right direction, though. But it was done without any actually agreements or negotiations between the city and the railroad.
One final thing, does North Union have any active plan to do their part of the trail?
So North Union Township has voiced that they would like to move forward with their portion. Their portion is approximately 6 miles. There's been some preliminary discussions with DCNR relative to their portion of the project. The township supervisors are absolutely wanting to move forward with the entire 6 miles. They want to kind of make application in phases. DCNR would like them to make an application for the entire project broken down into phases. So there's definitely some movement in that area. No funding available. The big thing is in order to actually apply for these grants, and we're South Union Township supervisors were, they're way ahead of the curve on this thing. You actually have to have a stake. You actually have to hold the land, and neither the city nor North Union Township actually physically has ownership of the land at this point to make application. So
They have some hurdles over there. There's some property over there that they'd have to acquire, big portions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie.
Nothing else? Number 15, the financial statement. Mr. Treasurer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Financial report for the month of February. The general fund checking account, $424,839.58. The general fund investment account, $49,310.28. Payroll fund, $59,018.62. Our state fund, $129,811.47. Our hydrant fund, $117.21. Our athletic fund, $29,851.15. Our sheepskin trail fund, $1,951.39. Our North Union South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $18,046.91. Our recycle fund is $77,932.80. And the tails on the trail fund is $2,585.85 for a grand total. The road department is $793,465.26. And our sewage fund total is $2,485,997.79 for a grand total with the road department and our sewage department, $3,279,463.05. That's my report for the township.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Any corrections? None? Moving on. Motion to pay the current bills, Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to pay the current bills as follows here. From the North Union, South Union Township Intergovernmental Board Fund, $11,204. From the Recycling Fund, through the South Union, North Union Intergovernmental Board, $2,636. The State Fund, $81,241.85. Sewage Fund, $144,118, 42 cents. Tails on the Trails Fund, $1,770. Athletic Fund, $8,106.84. And from the General Fund, $303,476.32. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Schiffbauer's motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Schiffbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
Mr. Scott. Motion carries. Number 17, Mr. Engineer. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I just, as everybody knows, we had a pretty significant wind event, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that, which actually caused the roof of the old Catholic War Veterans on Main Street to blow off. And that project is pretty typical of some projects that occurred prior to the adoption of the building code in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where a contractor just went in and built a trussed roof over an old flat roof. Anybody that did a project like that absolutely should get up within that area and check the roof itself to make sure it's still secured so they don't end up with the same situation. There were a lot of roofs that were put on that way that aren't secured with the necessary hurricane straps that you would be required to use today. So it's advisable for building owners that, with the wind event that we had and some of the events that we've had over the last year, to go ahead and actually do an inspection of that system and make sure that it is still secure and still, adhered to the building itself. So
That's some good information, because it's definitely something you should check. Anything else? Mr. Solicitor?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything to report. Do any of the supervisors have any questions?
I don't believe so. I think we're good. All right. One thing I'd like to add before we adjourn, a friend of mine over in North Union Township, Aaron Coleman, lost his son in a tragic accident in Brownsville last Sunday. And they're a great family. They're all involved in the North Union Township Fire Departments over there. He was chief at North Union for years, and he's at West Licensing now. His son was also 17 years old. He was a fireman. Just good people. But they have a GoFundMe page for the funeral expenses on Facebook. So if anyone out there has, even if it's only $10 or $20, I know the family would appreciate it. He was a great kid. My son was actually a year younger than him, and my wife taught him in first grade and then had him in the middle school while she was a principal there. And he was just a great kid, full of life, and it's just a tragic accident. But if you can find it, if not, send the prayers. If those are always free, and I know they'd appreciate those. But I just wanted to mention that. So anything you could do, we'd appreciate it. If nothing further, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 4:36. Do I have a second?
I'll second Mr. Scott's motion.
We have a motion and a second on a roll call. Mr. Scott, yes. Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.